Hey, Mark the guitar guy here. We're going to do some cool stuff with our basic chord progressions and chords that we're learning. We're going to do the E7 chord, the A7 chord and the B7 chord. The seventh sound is the first time I've come across this if you've done this video series. The seventh sound's got a kind of a cool country, hillbilly sort of a sound about it. I'll give you an example. We're going to do the E7. Simply do an E chord first, your typical E chord. Just take your third finger off and we'll have an E7 chord. We're changing the note that's on the fourth string. It started off as an E. We're taking our finger off, so it becomes a D, and it gives us our seventh sound. Don't worry too much about the theory behind it, but we just want to get that shape solidified. Now, sometimes that note doesn't come through too strongly. You can actually beef it up a little bit if you're confident having a go at this. Pop your little finger on the third fret of the second string. Just have I popped it down there, and it gives us two of those notes to make it really seventh-y, for a bad description of what we call it. So it just makes it a little bit more bluesy sounding or a bit more country sounding. Cool sounding chord. So normal E, E7, or another variation on that. Okay, so that's the E7 chord. So now we're going to do the A7 chord. Same idea, we'll start with an A chord, using our three fingers in a row for this example. We'll just lift our middle finger, our second finger off, and that G note starts to ring. That third string note should be ringing. Initially you might find your fingers are touching it, so you'll get that sort of a sound on it, right? But you want to make it nice and clear, so you can hear that note coming out. That's an A7 chord. Or you can pop the little finger down on the third fret of the first string, which is a G note, to beef that up the same way we did with the E7. Just gives you a bit more of a seventh sound, okay? So now the next chord we're going to do is a B7 chord. B7 chord, nice and simple. A lot of fingers on there, but it just takes a little bit of getting used to where your fingers go for this one. First finger is going to be on the fourth string, first fret, nice and tight up against that up against that fret. Second finger is going to go on the fifth string on the second fret. Third finger is on the second fret of the third string. Second fret of the third string. Little finger now, right on the bottom, second fret of the first string. And we strum it from the fifth string down. If you do happen to hit the top string, it doesn't sound too bad because but it kind of dominates the chord a little bit. So try not to hit the top string. Try to just play it from the fifth string down. And that's pretty much the way I'd like you to do B7. There's no other variations on that. But it's kind of like the game Twister if you've ever played that. It's kind of like your fingers are all intertwined in a funny way that doesn't feel very natural when you first do that chord. So it takes a wee bit of programming. Just put the chord on, take it off, put it on, take it off. Try out the pressing technique, which is a really cool technique you can use to memorize that, also in my videos. If you haven't happened to check out any of those, have a look. It's a good way to fast track any new chord that you might happen to learn. So it's the B7 chord. So what we're going to do next time we catch up is we're going to go through a chord progression outlining some of those cool seventh chords. So once you've learnt them, you think you've got them hot to trot, check out the next video and that should help you out a lot. We'll see you soon.